Right, I am just hanging around in my local forest, awaiting some light. There is light obviously, but there's not enough for the shot I have lined up here, which is a straightforward image of a little bit of the mosses, the watery boggy area with some beautiful trees in the background, very early in the morning. I probably need another 15 minutes or so because the film I'm shooting with today is very, very slow. Now you may remember a couple of years ago I did a video where I compared my typical HP5 Plus black and white film stock to the much slower and more rarely used Ilford Pan F50. Now on that video I probably rather unfairly chose conditions which favoured the HP5 Plus. They were quite contrasty, it was quite bright, and really the benefits of Pan F didn't come through. Well, today I've chosen Pan F50 because there is going to be very little contrast. It's very dull. It's going to be grey and overcast this morning. And I want to accentuate the contrast somewhat more than HP5 Plus, which is quite a low contrast film. So I have it loaded in the camera as the only film I'm shooting this morning, which means I've got extended shooting times because it's very slow. But hopefully the results will bear out my choice to go with this superfine material. Now my exposure for this first shot is quite a long one, quite slow, still quite dark, it's only just about sunrise now, and I'm metering around about 8 seconds or so with the Pan F50. Now with reciprocity failure, because it's an old-fashioned film and as it gets longer exposures the sensitivity drops off, it comes in at 15 seconds. Now that's one area where I really love my Bronica SQ-AI, because it has a 16-second exposure, so no need for bulb mode. I know it's only a small thing, but I like it. Well, as I said on a previous video recently, it's always good to get that first shot in the bag. I don't know, it just sort of relaxes you a little bit. I'd even develop the roll, to be honest, if that was the only one on it, because I liked it. I did like the composition, the balance, it was square. It was a 1-to-1 throughout. I don't think it'd suit another aspect ratio. So yes, so go hunting for something else. It'd be lovely to get some more images on this beautifully calm morning. Now this one is a little bit of a gamble. I'm not really sure about it totally, but it is a bit different. And yeah, I always want to do something a bit different, stretch myself. So it is a jumble of trees. It is a mess, but I'm isolating that with my longest lens, my 150mm, which I used for the last shot. Yeah, I always like long lenses in these situations to crop out sky and foreground. And it is a mass of trees, but there is a white, a bit of a silver birch in there, and there are darker tree trunks. That's going to be accentuated, the contrast, by the Pan F50. Again, it's a long exposure. It is 16 seconds with the reciprocity failure factored in, but this time I'm using f/22. I want to try and get front to back sharpness. I don't know if I'll get it, but it's well worth a try. Now this leaf litter, which is probably going to be gone in the next 2 to 3 weeks as spring takes over, creates a unique pattern. You're never going to get the same thing twice. It's completely faded out now, it's completely bleached out. It's almost like a uniform single tone, just separated by the edges of the leaves and the little shapes and the little stems that still remain as distinct points of reference. Now I have used my standard 80mm lens, which is pretty close focusing, and I've gone for f/22. Now I need to get the depth of field as much as possible here because I'm quite close. It's a very big piece of film, very narrow depth of field. 2 frames, 8 seconds for each one, so plenty of exposure. I don't want this to be a dull image. It's going to be quite light and airy, so I want the exposure to be really high, if you like, here. It's going to be a high key image. Well, that was a very brief but enjoyable trip to the forest. I'll get back now, get these developed in ID11, I think, classic developer, and possibly make a darkroom print. You may have seen one, may not make one to be honest. Yeah, but I enjoyed it. It was calm, it was quiet, it was warm, very nice to be out again. So I'll see you again soon, and thanks for watching as ever.